Next, we would like to move on to the panel discussion. To the moderator or the members of the panel, please join us on the stage. Join me in giving them a round of applause. The theme is Impact Investment Goes to How. The moderator is Mr. Aoyagi. Let me hand over the microphone. Aoyagi-san, the floor is yours. Thank you. So please, first, have a seat, and then I'm your moderator for this panel discussion. I'm from the SIIF, the Vice Chair of the Executive Committee. My name is Aoyagi. We have 40 minutes. This is a great members. These are great members of the panel, and it's such a valuable time. We really have to scramble. So let me get started. The theme of this panel discussion, as you can see, impact investment. Impact investment goes to how. So the how part. How are we going to do this? Why have we come up with this kind of theme? First, I would like to focus on that. Today, we've been talking about impact in many of the programs, but a few years ago, what is impact? What is impact investment? What should we do in order to make it the impact investment? That's the what part. So what are the themes? What kind of themes should we elect? So investors and financial institutions, why do they have to do this? Why are they expected? So why? Until just a while ago, that was the era of why, but in the last 2 to 3 years, those are now taken for granted. What should be done, or why should be done, that's already been cleared. And most, I shouldn't say perhaps most, but for the major financial institutions, venture capital, and they have already embarked on impact investment or about to get started. And there are so many entities already doing this. So how to get better impact? How can we enjoy returns? That those how part, technical issues are being discussed. But we do have practitioners. We also have the policy makers. And for quite a long time on this impact management issues or impact investment issues, these are the people who have a lot of experience. Let's listen to them. I would like each of you to self-introduce yourself, and looking at the current impact investment, what are the issues that you look at, and what kind of activities have you been engaged in? So in the one by one, but right next to me. So the Chunmei Huang.
Thank you very much. My name is Chunmei Huang. Let me be seated. Thank you very much. We're talking about how. Next slide, please. Our Impact Investment Initiative and Impact IPO Working Group. Those are the 2 points that I would like to report to you. It was in 2017, January, we started a journey of impact investment. Impact investment nor SDGs were not that popular either. So using SBI Shinsei 500 million fund, we began to engage in impact investment. In 2019, with the Mizuho Bank and 11 investors, 3.65 billion yen fund was established for childcare, nursing, healthcare, and working style reform. This was the first fund for investment into those areas. Already, we've invested into 10 companies, and we're now dispersing the 11th company. So by the end of this year, we will most likely be establishing the next fund. Regarding the criteria for investment, both economic and social gains have to be taken into consideration. So business model, innovation, and whether a market exists or what's the exit strategy, those are some of the points that we take into consideration. And we added 4 factors in social factor. First of all, commitment of the top management to social challenges and the materiality of social challenges. Further, whether investors are able to contribute to the challenges, and IMM, impact measurement and management. At the time the fund is designed, as indicated on the top right, care vertically and individual on the left and social on the right. We promote diverse lifestyles and working style. All of the investment have to drop in the donuts area, or else we don't decide to investment. At the time of screening, we create a business model, and focusing on IMM, sustainability initiatives and implementation are measured. And also, if they don't disclose, it won't be visualized. So we are suggesting disclosure regarding exit strategy, IPO, going public. We design by maximizing the value, and most of the companies in Japan are aiming towards IPO. And it won't be just financial information, but impact-related information that will be communicated in the IPO, and post-IPO IMM process shall be continued. So impact IPO is being pursued. I don't have enough time to give you some of the actual examples of our deals, but going on to page 9, not just the improvement of business model, but new business areas, human resources development. Many companies have said IMM is very useful in many areas. Next slide. Finally, Impact IPO Working Group. Focusing on GSG, many members of the Global Steering Group for Impact Investment had been considering, and a Japan National Advisory Board Working Group was established. Listed, non-listed investors, 6 security companies, experts. Finally, 26 members joined, and we've had 5 sessions. And we are trying to come up with a guidance by the end of the year. So we truly hope that we can contribute to the establishment of a better society and the creation of a better capital market.
Ms. Huang, thank you so much. You're the very first speaker of this panel. Venture startup impact investment in your case, fund management, just a part of it has been shared with you. About Impact IPO Working Group, we have been working together on the impact investment related area. It's the GSG Advisory Committee. This is a neutral promotion committee. And Monday and Tuesday in Malaga in Spain, there was a global summit meeting. And for the Shibusawa-san, is the chair of the new this committee, and 60 such promotion organizations have been established to promote impact investment. Representing bank, the positive impact financing and others have been promoted by Kanai-san. So Kanai-san, the floor is yours. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Kanai with the Sumitomo Mitsui Trust Bank. Sustainability as a whole is what I'm looking at within the company. First page, please. First, in impact financing, what's the backdrop? The reasons are something I would like to share with you. In a nutshell, it's about business. If you look at this, in my own way, the history of sustainable investment has been organized here. Looking at this 100-year perspective, the longer perspective, investment is factoring in the elements from the society, and that's been expanding. There are some kind of the fluctuations, but in a nutshell, it's irreversible. The final ultimate goal, investors making a commitment to the creation of the society, that kind of an impact investment is ultimate. When we started the socially responsible investment, the other people were not really enthusiastic, but now nobody really disputes the ESG, and I think that will happen in this impact investment arena as well. Next, please. But that cannot happen overnight so far, especially in the modern portfolio. We need to make sure that it sits well with that risk return. 2006 PRI created this ESG concept, and spending this 15 long years, especially ESG integration refinement has been conducted, economic return, social return, how to achieve both of them at the same time. I think the environment has been improved to that end. Centering in Europe, policy promotional support has been given, and for various asset classes, the ESG concept has been deeply rooted. Now, financial markets as a whole, ESG is being supported. That environment has been improved and prepared. So we see this the concept of impact. 2019, this PRB came back. PRB. It's almost comparable to impact investment. So the impact concept became part of the concepts covering the financial institutions. So we started this impact investment. Understood this historic background. March 2019. For corporate positive impact finance. This is a product for corporate market. We developed that product, and then since then internally, the word impact became a kind of a buzzword at our bank. Impact financing. This business has been conducted in various perspectives: venture capital, local governments, consulting service for companies. Those are part of them. Diversification of services is one of our characteristics. Next page, please. And there are two, if I were to just pick two, positive impact finance, PIF. The other is what we call impact equity. So about PIF, positive impact finance, centering on major companies for such clients and customers when we extend loans. Supply chain of the company is analyzed in a holistic manner. Positive, negative impacts are looked at, and with the engagement, we try to enhance our impact, the impact. Regional financial institutions and others, many financial institutions are now developing these products. I think we had a certain kind of an influence in the financial community. Next, concerning impact equity, we create impact ourselves. By 2030, 500 billion yen impact investment will be conducted by us. Pension funds and others are clients of the trust bank. So asset owners working on the impact creation. We want to create such an environment, and also that as a priming water, and then 150 trillion yen is trying to be managed by created by the government, and we would like to play a part. So, with this impact perspective, the decarbonization, nature positive, circular economy, we want to be a detonator to trigger innovation, innovative technology. How they are going to have impact, scientific insight is required. About 3 years ago, the technology-based financial team, those are the engineered scientists, 12 experts belong to this. All of them have either master's degrees or doctor's degree. Last page. Impact finance. We want to expand this, spread this in the financial sector. We want to do our own bit. So this is a voluntary promotional organization. Impact-oriented financial declaration was established in 2021. Personally, I worked on the drafting of the declaration as a steering committee chairman. Having assuming a role, the JFSA is trying to spread this impact investment. So to expand the kind of of supporting participants, I would like to again make a contribution. Thank you, Kanai-san. From bank's perspective, for quite a long time, you have been accumulating your experiences. I mean, even 4 minutes, 5 minutes do not do justice to your experience. So that was just part of it, positive impact finance, and then you are now trying to realize that how part. Number 3, Shibusawa-san, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Shibusawa. My title was busy. The first one, Shibusawa and Company. I'm a panelist of the Council on New Form of Capitalism under Prime Minister Kishida. I've been one of the founding members, and I'm the flag bearer of impact investment. So that's the role I play. And in that context, impact was defined. So in the past 1 or 2 years, we saw a spread of this concept of impact in Japan. And Prime Minister Kishida has been using that, and it was 2 weeks ago when at the side event, triple I for global health was triple I for impact investment in impact international investment for global health was held. The Japanese government has been challenging global health issues, healthcare to all the people in the developing countries. That has been one of the priorities of the Japanese government, and funneling in new private sector capital in such area through impact investment was one of the suggestions. And that initiative was started up, and Mr. Kishida, Bill Gates, Dr. Tedros of WHO, high-level dignitaries were there on the sidelines of United Nations General Assembly. We were able to bring this to the G7 platform under Japan's presidency, which was meaningful because once it's on the G7 platform, it attracts the attention of various stakeholders. So if you are interested, let me talk about it offline. Secondly, 15 years ago, with partners, we started up the asset management arm. And this is a company that invests in public companies. 1 year ago, we started up an impact fund, Kampo postal insurances money was committed. I was rather negative because, you know, impact investment has its definition, and that is ES, intention of environment and society, and at the same time generating profits. So would really public companies fall into that category? Would they, the top management of public companies, have such intention? I was rather suspicious, but I started up this fund anyway. 1 year after, I'm glad I did it because Commonwealth investment prioritizes on some of the factors. Long-term investment, it has visible value and non-visible, non-financial value. Visualization of non-visual values would require dialogue. So Common 30 Fund, we manage that fund. Impact, as Huang-san explained, IMRF, you suggest that to CFO of companies. I've never heard of that, they would say. That would trigger a new dialogue for visualization of non-financial information. Impact investment for public companies. I wouldn't say Japan is the only country that does that, but there are very few examples. So Japan is not behind other countries. I think Japan is the lead. Thirdly, Ankatare. This is Japan to Africa Impact Fund. Investors are Japanese companies, and under Keizai Doyukai, this fund was established, and Doyukai members Many of them are corporates and financial institutions, and African Development Bank wants to co-create funds. So half is fund investment, half is direct investment. So those are some of the things we do.
Shibusawa-san, thank you so much. I just said Shibusawa-san, didn't really introduce yourself, but as you heard, you have so many titles, you have been engaged in so many activities. San is Almighty San, so I just called you Shibusawa-san. But you have been engaged in diversified activities with impact as a kind of a core. Last but not least, from the FSA, Takada-san, Mr. Takada. Starting from last year, and there has expert meetings set up on the impact investment. In June, the basic policies have been hammered out, and it's still open for comment. So, Mr. Takada, the floor is yours. Director, Strategy Development Division, FSA, and Budget Bureau, MOF. Thank you so much. As Shibusawa-san said, within the Japanese government, concerning the impact investment, it's one of the core parts of the policies, and we have been promoting them. Regarding this trend, in the last 1 or 2 years, it really gained momentum. At the JFSA, October last year, there was a meeting established, study meeting on impact investment. Shibusawa-san, Kanai-san, you are members of this committee. Also, Aoyagi-san, Huang-san, we received your valuable comments. And in June, the report was compiled. In those policy areas about the impact investment, what are the actual concepts of the impact investment? The interpretations are actually diverse, so we started on organizing these concepts about impact investment, pursuing impact, even at the sacrifice of returns. That's one way, one approach. But in this meeting, study group, impact and returns, we are trying to achieve both of them. It's not a trade-off. It has to be win-win. That's the goal that has been clarified from the beginning. So in ESG and impact investment, people often ask about the differences. As you can see, if you look at the widely spread ESG investment method at the portfolio level, that's conducted, including screening. But impact investment, specific technology corporations, the attention is paid to create impact. Next page, please. In this report about the impact investment, the basic guidelines were drafted. So impact investment related requirements and definition, we try to have the common understanding. There's another thing, the consortium as a place for the dialogue for stakeholders. We would like to launch this within this fiscal year. PR in person, on the 3rd, Prime Minister Kishida said it for the first time. So what are we going to try to achieve in this consortium of data, use case, and the development of expertise on business evaluation and human resources, and producing actual investment projects, support for local companies, and international consistency and cooperation. Next page, please. So in this draft guideline, we are coming up with these 4 proposals. First, the intentionality of creating impact and additionality to pursue both impact and economic returns, and it has to be measurable. So internationally, there are already guidelines available, and this is consistent with them. But another characteristic, number 4, the support for novelty. So innovation, people talk about innovation, but because return and impact, to achieve both of them is not easy. To realize them, product in the business model, it's likely to require novelty. That's why we have this proposal. It's available for public comments. We would like to deepen our discussions further. Regarding this part, from overseas, the stakeholders, as a new concept, they are paying close attention to this, and we have been engaged in various discussions. Or from you as well, we would like to encourage you to participate in the discussion. Thank you. Takada-san, thank you very much. As you mentioned at the end, regarding this draft, the 4th proposal, or whether it's called a requirement or not, it's open for public comments about the support for novelty. This is something unique to Japan, and investors, financial institutions in Japan are paying close attention to this. Regarding number 1 through number 3, they are already firmly rooted internationally. All right, we already used half of the time. Now we would like to start the latter half of the session. From 4 of you, as you shared with us here in Japan, there are more investors who are doing the impact investment with policy backup as well. There has been some progress. Having said that, is it really the mainstream? It still have a long way to go. Even from us as promoters, we still feel that we are still halfway for impact investment to take root. To create such a society, what are the issues? What kind of a vision should we have? Those are the things that we would like to discuss in the second half. Now, Takada-san from the JFSA about impact investment. For it to take root in the society, what kind of things should we discuss as issues? Keywords, please. Could you share with us what you have written? Keyword, mainstreaming. Mainstreaming the impact investment. Generally speaking, concerning the ESG, I mean, it's about to become mainstream, or it has become more or less the mainstream. But going further than the ESG investment, this impact investment has not really become part of the mainstream. Pension funds, for instance, that the institutional investors. Fiduciary duty, what's the relation between the fiduciary duty and impact? It's not something to sacrifice your returns. That concept, as I said before, we need to work further on that. And if we can do that for financial institutions and investors, this could become the mainstream. Thank you. Okay, I would like you to come up with the message. I hope Shibusawa-san.
Investment also in fund number 1. What does this mean? As mentioned by Vice Commissioner Horimoto, the government has come up with a 5-year startup plan. But I made a comment at the council meeting. That's fine. The 5-year plan is fine. But what about startup in the financial sector? And that's a piece missing. In other words, the investors who will be investing into the impact funds, of course, large financial institutions will invest, but the definition has intention. In other words, the investor has to have the intention to cause impact, and that is something that I feel is missing. Commons Impact Fund was established because Postal Insurance said they want to co-create the fund with Commons Asset Management, and that's why we were able to establish that. And Capital, this is the impact fund to Africa, Impact and Frontier Africa. We're looking at 60 companies, and in most cases, corporations find it interesting. They think about their own business strategy and find it interesting. But many financial institutions, not all, but many financial institutions will say, oh, that's interesting, but we can't invest in fund number 1. That's the same answer each time I go to financial institutions. What does that mean? They're not used to it, so they won't invest in fund number 1. They don't want to take such a risk. So Mr. Takada is sitting next to me, and I'm requesting FSA to invest in number 1 fund. How much did you invest? I want FSA to disclose the amount. Please consider that.
Thank you. GSG in the advisory commission, the committee, we are always looking at the balance. 5.8 trillion yen 2 years ago, it's 4 times compared with the previous year. But as I listened to Shibusawa-san, perhaps we should ask the question, how much you invested in the number one fund? Okay, Kanai-san. It says science, in parenthesis, technology. There are 2 meanings, wider definition and narrower interpretation. Wider interpretation is that required innovation comes from the scientific process of grasping things scientifically, because impact investment in mid to long term, you have to have a reasonable estimates of the results. The scientific mindset is required for analysis. It's necessary, and if you don't have this, you can't do this. And in a narrower sense, science is so important. Financial institutions so far. Technology is important. They say technology is important, but related to what Shibusawa-san said, assuming risks and for social implementations, they haven't really provided the fund for that. Now, financial institutions, unless they really understand the technology, I mean, if they are waiting until all this technology becomes very clear, it doesn't work out. So if you could understand those technology, that with this kind of technology, that things will work. I mean, the same holds true for banks, but we need to create such an environment. If it's a bank, creating a value chain, coordination role is expected from a bank. So they should play a positive role. We created the organization because of that. So being able to understand technology is important, but the strength of the banks to create a value chain, that's strong. Ms. Fan?
My suggestion, endless positive feedback loop. From the definition of impact investment, economic return and social economic impact becoming incompatible, and every year survey is conducted, and mainstream investors they get the data that both are being pursued, but as mentioned by Takada-san in FSA, in the study group's report, social environment impact and businesses under various conditions can be intercomplementary in order to create synergy and value. And we are supporting venture non-public companies, and we think that both can be pursued. So data is visualized, so with evidence, we can assure that in the mid to long run, both economic and social interests can be pursued. But in the case of private companies, M&A can't be an exit, so 80% are IPO. And there's a question mark as to whether the growth market is valuing them. So impact, bet on their growth. There is corporate value in the capital markets. By using capital markets with evidence, show that impact is being caused, and have the investors become confident, and active, meaningful dialogue can be promoted so that capital can come into companies for growth. In the integrated reporting, they talk about the 6 types of capitals, but there could be an infinite loop, and that's not 2D, but a spiral, big flow. But there are hardly any cases, so impact IPO guidance is non-existent. So with our investees, we hope that that kind of environment can be realized.
Thank you. You are so right. But speaking of impact, this particular business, as a result of those activities, the effects, until they manifested mid to long term, it takes time. As Huang-san said, we still don't see the loop being established, but by offering this feedback, spiraling, going back, for investees and investors, they already started having that kind of mindset. So I have some expectations going forward. We still have 5 minutes left. 4 keywords have been shared with us. As I look at those keywords, in the final analysis, as Mr. Takada said, mainstreaming. What needs to be done for mainstreaming? Speaking of that, the three of you, Shibusawa-san, Kanai-san, Huang-san, from your respective experiences, you gave us your keywords. So, although I'm a moderator to Takada-san, for mainstreaming, as we listen to three of you, technology, have more intention to invest in the number one fund, and positive feedback matters. As you listen to them, to integrate all of these as a policy side, what kind of support could you extend? Any comment? Thank you. No, for mainstreaming, one of the issues is, as I touched upon before, for investors, they have this fiduciary duty. So in relation to the fiduciary duty, returns and impact, they have to achieve both of them. Is it possible? You may not be fully convinced that it's possible. I mean, this is more like a chicken or egg, which is first. Aoyagi-san and Huang-san mentioned, we don't really have those cases, actual cases, track record. Even if there is one, it takes time before it sees the fruition. So there are few investors who are doing this, and that's why we don't have the track record. Without track record, people can't do this. So Shibusawa-san said, Kanai-san said, what you said matter. You need to have the courage to make investment in the number one fund, but you need to have technology. You need to have some kind of understanding. But everybody's afraid it doesn't work out. So in terms of policies, we have this consortium being established. I hope this will be a trigger. I would like to encourage people, others, and then they can start running. That's the kind of environment I would like to create. Thank you very much. So three of you came up with the keywords. And there are those people, many people who are active in impact investment, although they are not here. But if it's done by just individual company, for efficiency-wise, it takes time to get the outcome. Since the consortium will be established, something can be shared, should be shared, and the wisdom can be shared. I'm pretty sure that would help mainstreaming impact investment. I think I have time for just one word from each of you, but to audience, many of you are already doing the impact investment, but regarding the gist of this panel, not just for people who are already doing this, but who are thinking of starting the impact investment as financial institutions, investors. So we just wanted to share with you the pioneers are doing. Now, those of you who are to start impact investment for such investors, financial institutions, now message, please. Huang-san first.
Impact should be a common language for new business startup or for investors, bring that to investment action. And companies that are contributing to the society should be highly evaluated. That's the kind of economy we wish to create. And it's not just the corporate side, the investor side, or the government side. That's left upon all stakeholders. So we hope that that kind of virtuous society can be created.
Thank you, Kanai-san. Right. I mean, you should first start doing this. Otherwise, it's not going to go up. Creating impact, and then you come up with a certain logic. I am pretty sure many people are kind of suspicious. So first to do it, and then you will see the actual impact as a result of investment. And you must use this as a way of getting consensus. If you are talking to the business operating company, if you are doing this in the community, then involving stakeholders in the community, you should use it as a means to involve people. Then this impact, you will understand that this is pretty effective. So please start doing this. That's my message. Now, about the impact-oriented declaration, many financial institutions who are about to start designed it started with 2020, but now the 60 organizations have become signatories. So if you become part of such a movement, as Kanai-san said, there are already pioneers who will actually be glad to teach you their experiences. Shibusawa-san.
In comparison to other countries, we're a couple of laps behind, some say, in Japan. I don't think so in the area of impact investment. As I already touched upon, we talked about the III. And today, due to lack of time, impact-weighted accounting. At a consultant webinar, I went up on the stage. There were 800 audience, really maniac nerds, but that's how high the level of interest is. I talked about Ant Capital. Japan, JT is in a REIT. It's quite interesting. In sustainability activity, JT is involved in donation charity. But once you donate, you think that's the end, right? You dispense the money and that's the end. And you expense that. But through impact investment, when the company engages in impact activity, sustainability, it goes not on the PL but balance sheet, which means investment and recovery of principal plus the interest or return. So you can use that as for the next investment. So that's using corporate balance sheet for a virtuous cycle between investment and growth. There are very few companies in other countries that have such an idea, so we are leading the world. So I think Japan is leading in many ways this universe.
Thank you so much, Takada-san. Be it financial institutions or investors, you are managing other people's money. So impact investment and your fiduciary duty regarding that relation. Of course, you are asked about the relation between the two, SDGs or potential orientation towards impact. I think it's already there amongst the people in general. If that's the case, so the voice of the society, voice of the people, once they are heard, they naturally, as financial institutions, investors, they will make a move to reflect the voices of the people. And that, when that happens, the impact investment will become mainstream. So all of you, each of you who are here, who are participating, as a beneficiary, or if you are financial institutions, representing the beneficiaries, such potential voices of the people, if you could sort of rally that, I think if all of us can engage in that, that would be great. So the impact investing goes to how. We would like to conclude this panel discussion too. As you heard from the 4 members of the panel, why, what was also addressed, but the world has changed so much, and the flow of money for society, environmental issues, let them flow to those areas to have a positive impact. I'm pretty sure this is not a contested theme, so getting started really matters. So today, as a kind of a trigger, I hope you could start your activities or accelerate what you have been doing. So thank you so much for participating in this discussion. Thank you. Please join me in thanking all the members of the panel with a round of applause. Thank you very much, the moderator, members of the panel. Thank you for your contributions.
HTT やってますか？
林先生。
冷蔵庫の設定温度を強から中に。HTT 電力を減らすの H ができますよ。
あ、 はい。
こんな照明も LED に変えると HTT
今やるんですか？でも助かりま。
ですしょ。
電力を減らす、作る、貯める、お家でできる HTT やってみませんか？
やってますか？
HTT。
皆さんこんにちは。東京都知事の小池百合子です。デコ活東京、これは脱炭素デカーボナイゼーションにつながる新しい国民運動デコ活に東京が率先して取り組む、そのことを表しています。グテーレス国連事務総長は、地球温暖化の時代は終わり、地球沸騰化の時代が到来したと警告しました。都民、事業者、行政が一体となってゼロエミッションに向けた動きを加速させなければなりません。ここに宣言いたします。東京都はデコ活、そして電力を減らす、作る、貯めるの頭文字を取った HTT をキーワードに果敢に挑戦いたします。という施設への太陽光パネルの設置など率先行動も強力に推進してまいります。みんなでこの輪を広げて真に豊かな暮らしを作り上げ、私たちの未来を持続可能なものにしていきましょう。よろしくお願いします。
東京をみんなが思い描いた未来へ。グリーンファイナンスという環境にスポットを当てた金融によって、東京は世界をリードする国際金融都市を実現します。金融には社会課題を解決する力がある。例えば明治3年、日本政府はロンドンの取引所でポンド建ての日本国債を発行。海外の投資家から集めた資金で鉄道を敷設し、近代化を進めていきました。そして今、東京はサステナブルな都市の構築に向けて大きく舵を切りました。国際金融都市東京構想 2.0 を羅針盤として、国内外の資金を東京に呼び込み、多様な企業の成長を後押ししていくことで、新たなイノベーションが生まれ、持続可能で豊かな未来を実現する。東京は金融の力で世界をリードする都市を目指しています。東京には国際金融都市としてさらなる進化を遂げるための大きな強みがあります。100兆円を超える都内 GDP。東京は世界を代表する経済都市です。東京には3700社を超える上場企業、700兆円を超える時価総額を誇る世界有数の株式市場が存在します。東京は世界で最も住みやすい都市に選ばれているなど、都市の総合力も魅力です。グローバルな環境変化に果敢に対応するため、国際金融都市東京構想 2.0 を策定。新たなキーワードはグリーンとデジタル。東京大会のレガシーでもある水素の活用やゼロエミッションビルの普及をグリーンファイナンスで後押ししていく。金融のデジタル化に欠かせないフィンテック。東京へのフィンテックの集積により、金融サービスの水準と生活利便性の向上を図っていく。世界をリードする国際金融都市へ着実に歩みを進めています。
持続可能で豊かな未来を実現する、そして都民の皆さんの生活の質を高めていく。金融の力で明るい未来の東京を切り開いていきましょう。
国際金融都市東京。